December 10th, 2020. It's Grottu Orloff up here on the 5th floor of the Grottu Orloff building. Just been rearranging things and organizing comic books up here. Just put a Betty Page picture in there in that frame I got at a garage sale. So, yeah. Same old stuff, just moved around. So, anyway, so I've had quite an adventure over the last few days trying to get all these comics organized, and been listening to music while I did it, and some of that music must not agree with YouTube, so the last video I shot didn't fully, post it and I could watch it, but it wouldn't. I went to my wife's YouTube account and I couldn't find my last video, so apparently some of the music must have been copywritten. I try to play the music real low in the background just to entertain me a bit, but I guess I've learned a lesson. Let's see here. Well, okay. So, I've been organizing these Silver Age comics, and let's see. All the stuff that you didn't see when, in the last video, this is the last box here. So, I'm just putting in World's Finest. There's a Wonder Woman 139. Oh, here's a Wonder Woman that does not have a backing board. This is the kind of thing I'm trying to fix here. So anyway, I was probably telling some great stories in that last video that are now lost to time. But, or I may have been telling you the same stories that I say all the time, just repeated over and over again, but it doesn't matter. Shit. So, a lot of things you're not allowed to talk about on YouTube, and I guess there's music that you can't play. So, I guess the trick is to get really old music from like the 1920s that's fallen out of copyright. There's a lot of great music back then. That's what's playing in the hallway there on my radio station. Happy days are here again. Yes. So, I noticed someone put up a video, like, for beginning collectors, and it was just talking through someone that wants to just start collecting comics and the things that maybe you don't know, and I thought, well, that's a good idea. Basically, like, let's say you watch movies and you're aware of the characters, and you're saying, well, gosh, I'd like to read some of these comics and see what they're like. How do I get them? How do I get started? Well, your local comic book store, a lot of them don't have older comics. They just have what's new on the rack. And in my opinion, I don't think that's the best way to get into comics. Is the modern comics are drawn by artists on computers, and a lot of the writers are these social justice warriors that are just trying to posture, and it's just I don't have a high opinion of a lot of what's coming out right now, but then I don't know a lot of what's coming out now, and it's possible there's a lot of stuff I'm trying to keep an open mind, but I'd rather get older comics. And where do you get them? Well, you know, you got to find a comic shop that has older comics. You may live someplace in the Appalachian Mountains or somewhere where there's no real local comic shops. So I would go online. It's actually a local business here to where I'm living. It used to be called Lone Star Comics, but there's a website called mycomicshop.com. That's a good place to go to order old comics, and they're reasonably priced. And they have a lot, and they ship. They do a good job shipping and packing everything, and they're just great. It takes a little bit longer to get stuff now with everything that's going on with the post office, but they're really good. Okay, this starts with Thor. I like them, and you know, I guess you could go to eBay and all those places, but as far as the older comics, you're not going to be able to afford the early issues, so they have Marvel's reprinted a lot of their classic comics in volumes called Marvel Masterworks. So that would be one. And then if you want to get it really cheap, they've also reprinted a lot of their original stories in black and white with kind of cheap paper, but real thick. It's like an old style phone book or a Japanese comic book manga, you know, or it's real thick. But they've reprinted a lot of their old. You can read it that way. But a lot of the movies coming out now, especially Marvel, the movies that are coming out are based mostly on storylines that happened in the 60s and 70s. The Infinity War stuff, that's more recent, but the basic world building they're doing in the movies, you want to read the comics from the 60s, which is called the Silver Age, and the 70s, which is called the Bronze Age. Marvel, pretty much when you see this title strip going across the top, that means that the comic was printed between 71 and up into the 80s. But this is a Bronze Age comic. It was 20 cents. Just about. Then they went up to 25 cents, then 30, then 35 cents. All through the 70s, comics kept going up and up and up in value. I mean, in price, rather, because the United States went off the gold standard during Nixon's administration. So we had inflation, and the dollar wasn't worth as much. But pretty much comic books from the time they were invented were 10 cents. And until the early 60s, maybe about 61, they went up to 12 cents. So if you see a 12-cent comic, you know it's from the 1960s, right around the turn of, right before 1970, 69 or so, they went up to 15 cents. So a 12-cent comic, you immediately know it's from the 60s. 10-cent comics, you know they're from 1961 and before. You see something 20 cents and above, it's printed after like 72. So that'll give you an idea, just looking at the front of a comic, how old it is. The hell? I mean, I got all this knowledge about comics, and I feel like I should share it. Oh shit. I guess. Okay. This is what I need to be doing. Okay, so House of Mysteries, 15 cents. So you know that it's this is actually from, I would say, about 1969. Let's see. This is 15 cents. Incredible Hulk. So this is probably, that's probably from about 1970. You just look at it. See, this one's 1971. I mean, it tells you that right here on the cover. But what I'm doing here is I'm keeping my Silver Age comics separated from my Bronze Age and after, because to me the Silver Age stuff is kind of like a sacred kind of thing, and I just want it in a separate place. It just feels better to be flipping through these stacks, and it's all 60s and some 50s mixed in. Okay, so that it was really disappointing, because that last video really had some good stuff in it, and I was just foolish. I got a little cocky thinking, I can play some music on here, and no, I can't. Okay, so everybody's taking all the fun out of everything. God damn it. Let's see. Yeah, man. Okay. What is this pile of shit? Oh, okay. Well, this will be some good stuff to show you. Okay, so this issue of Iron Man, for instance. Let me put this where I can see what I'm shooting. Okay, so it's 15 cents. So, you know, if it's 15 cents, it's probably somewhere from like 1969 to about 71. Okay. So I'll give you, you know, just a little crash course. Okay, so, you know, 15 cents. Okay. Now this is a Marvel comic. It's 10 cents. This is from the 50s. It just kind of comes to you, you know. Okay, so this issue of Jughead, 12 cents. It's from the 60s. Ooh. This is from what they call the Golden Age of comics. This is Jungle Comics, and it's from a company that's no longer around called Fiction House. And Fiction House really, you know, it started as a pulp magazine line, and Fiction House published Sheena, Queen of the Jungle, and they were kind of famous for their what they call good girl art. So it was just like pinup art. You know, the covers always had lots of leg and boob, and that was what they were famous for, and they were famous for their really good art too. Fiction House was, yeah. But then in the 50s, they brought in something called the Comics Code in 55. That was a self-regulatory board, and this policed comics, and it basically said you can't have too extreme violence, you can't have cursing, you can't have the bad guy get away with a crime, you can't have nudity, you can't have, it basically tried to clean up comics, because the comic books had gotten pretty wild there in the early 50s, so this was to try to clean up things. This is 12 cents. This is an early Justice League of America. Damn. Shit. What else can I tell you? What I would say is collect what you like. Buy comics that interest you. Do not buy something on speculation. Don't buy a comic you don't like because you think, well, this character is gonna be in a movie. I heard about this on YouTube. No, you buy what you like. Actually, I just got some really bad news. On YouTube, I saw someone had a video titled "Goodbye, Richard Corbin." Now, Richard Corbin was an artist I liked. I've always loved his art style. I don't know if I'm going to be able to just pull magically a Richard Corbin comic out, not out of a Silver Age boxes, but Richard Corbin came along, started as a fan artist, and in the 70s really made a name for himself, especially through the Warren magazines, which were black and white comics that came out in the 70s. Richard Corbin had I just love his art style. He's one of my all-time favorite artists, along with, oh, here's Pete, my cat. Hey, Pete. He's come to see what I'm talking about. Richard Corbin had this great style. I gotta get something to prop this phone up. Richard Corbin had a style unlike anyone else. He used a lot of airbrush, gave it his art kind of a 3D feel, and it had a kind of a feeling of whimsy. It was very fun. It was realistic, but not. And he was also drew anatomy very exaggerated. And by anatomy, I mean boobs and things like that. He just was a joy. Richard Corbin's stories were a joy to behold. So, to me, comic books nothing without good art, and it's got to have a good story too. I gotta have both. Another one of my favorite artists is Marie Severin, and her brother John Severin, and then there's a lot of great artists from the 50s that worked for a line called EC Comics. There was Wally Wood, and there's so many great. And Jack Kirby, of course, is the great comic artist that basically created the whole superhero genre. I mean, that's what he did. He was the world builder, the universe builder for everyone else. Kind of imitates him. There's so many great artists, but Richard Corbin will be missed. I didn't watch the video yet. I just saw someone had said goodbye, Richard Corbin, so I just assumed he must have passed away. I haven't had a chance to look into that. So if he hasn't passed away, I'm sorry, but I'm giving you the news in error. But it looks like from that title that's what happened, and he was just great. So yeah, Richard Corbin. I've got these comics that I have in my light, and they don't have boards, because when I put these in the My Light back in the 80s, it wasn't really something that everybody did, put boards in. So I'm trying to go in and trying to maintain my collection here, and mainly I'm doing this video just as a test, because I want to see, am I still allowed to post stuff on YouTube, because I don't know if that's counted as a copyright strike. Probably when I get a video taken down, because I guess that's not a good thing. But I don't know how all this stuff works. So I'm just really tired of a lot of things going on in the world that aren't allowed to be. You can't talk about it on YouTube, apparently. I've been doing it, but I need to probably stop, because if I got a copyright strike and then they get me for talking about politics, which is verboten, then who knows what might happen. This one needs a board too. So, oh shit, you can hear that song. I'll close this door because I don't want that fucking song just playing in the background like that. That gives you a copyright strike. How does that fucking possibly... No, it doesn't matter. You know how they are. Whew. Well, oh, this one doesn't even have a bag or a board. So, 12 cents. The back is an ad for Maxwell Smart's car for model for slot car racing. So this is obviously 60s. Man, I gotta get some sleep and come back rejuvenated because I am depressed. You're having a video taken down. So tomorrow's Friday. It's supposed to rain tomorrow. Let's see. You know, this is the old style way of finding out the weather. You got. Let me show you. This used to be sold at Radio Shack, and it's just a radio that only gets one station, which is the weather station. Let's see what it says.
Freeze Friday, mainly along east of Interstate 35. A few strong storms may produce some gusty winds, but the overall severe weather threat is low. The Dallas-Fort Worth climate summary for this evening, as of 6 p.m., December 10th, 2020. Today's high temperature was 78 degrees and the low 41 degrees. No precipitation fell today, which leaves the monthly total at 0.01 inches. The total precipitation for the year still stands at 40.71 inches.
Land of the Giants.
The normal high temperature for tomorrow is 58 degrees, and the normal low is 38.
This is what you did before the internet, before Siri. You would this is how you find out the weather.
In 1914. Sunset tonight is at 5:22 p.m. Sunrise tomorrow is at 7:21 a.m. The ultraviolet index forecast for December 11th is 1 or low. The current time is 7:30.
I hear that the Schumann resonance went up to an unbelievable level yesterday. Like, I don't know much about that, but people that are into all that new age kind of stuff are saying that something major is about to happen. But I think that's a good idea to do videos for people that are new to the hobby, because then how else are they going to get the information if not from people that have been with it for a long time? I don't know much about new comics because I took a long vacation from collecting new comics when they got to be just something that was collectible and all over the home shopping networks back in the 90s. Okay, so that's basically how that works. You just press the button and you instantly get the weather from the realistic weather radio. Nifty little gadget. Motherfucker. This one is in really bad shape. When you got a comic in a shape like this, you know, you just consider it a reading copy. The reading copy means it's something you can read it, you can have fun with it, but it's not anything really super collectible. But it's the 12 center. You know, there's something that a lot of collectors are doing now, and that's collecting key issues. And there's even an app that you can get on your phone that helps you find the key issue, the important issues in a comic book's run. And And some people just collect those and not the rest of them. The rest of the line of the rest of the numbering of the comic. And then there's people that I kind of really don't like this. They'll send their comic off to this grading company called CGC, and there's another one, I think it's called CD something. And anyway, what they do is they give it a rating on a scale of 1 to 10, and then they'll put it in and encase it forever in plastic so you can never read it again. But you can put it up as a trophy on your wall, or when you're selling it or trading it to someone in another part of the country, they can trust the rating because it's done by this third party. And I don't really like encasing a comic forever in plastic. It's just kind of against. I like to read. Take a look at little Pete here. Hey, Pete. How you doing there? Pete has been with me since about 2008. He showed up on a cold December morning and just walked right in my front door. And so I adopted Pete. And at first, Pete didn't get along well with my other cat named Princess, who was a Snow White cat. But then they started getting along, and I had a beagle named Daisy back then, and everybody got along, and we'd all sleep in the same bed together with me, and they were all my buddies before, when I was so lonely back in the days before I met my wife. And Pete's the survivor that's been there the whole time. Just a few days ago was the anniversary of me, third anniversary of me losing my beautiful beagle, Daisy. And so, I'm trying to distract myself from the horrible stuff going on in the world. And I don't know how it's affecting you guys. I see the internet clamping down on free speech, and it's then things are so divided now in our country, and I don't know what's going to wind up happening, but comic books kind of provide an escape in music, but I can't play the music. Escape from what's going on. But it's good to have little pets. You see yourself there, Pete? There are little friends that can help you out. I'll get this organization done. Don't you think, Pete? I'll get it done. It just may not happen today. But I'll tell you what, guys. I'll be back tomorrow, still plugging at it. So take care.